Last month, OpenAI dropped something called ChatGPT Work, and if you scroll through YouTube right now, every single video around this is doing the same thing. Scraping 500 leads, building a fancy little website, running a whole agency on autopilot. And that looks cool for a business owner, but if you've got an actual 9 to 5, none of this is relatable or useful to you. So today, in this video, I'll share 5 different use cases of GPT work that you can actually use at your job and in your everyday life. So stay till the end, because there is one bonus use case at the last that is going to feel like having a smart guy watch everything you do and then copy you. So let's get into it. Now real quick, what's the actual difference between normal ChatGPT and this work thing? Normal ChatGPT is just a simple chatbot. You ask it something, it answers, and that's it. The conversation is over. But work is a whole different story. It makes a plan. It uses your apps and your files, and it'll sit there and work for minutes and even hours until the task is done. That's the kind of upgrade we're talking about today. So let's start with the first one, which is the chaos test. This thing tests and shows how good GPT work is at taking actual chaos from your work life and solving it. So first, I want to talk about how messy my brain is when I'm dealing with a real problem at work. Here's what I did. I just started ranting about this content situation we've been having. Our engagement's been dropping. One of my team members wants to go all in on shorts, but our long form is what's converting into sales, so I don't want to just abandon that either. And on top of that, we haven't posted in like 3 weeks because everyone's stretched thin. One guy is doing 3 people's jobs right now. And budget-wise, maybe we can hire someone by Q3, but not before that. So that's the actual mess I gave it, exactly how it sounded in my head. Let's see what it gives back. Okay, so this is more than what I expected, honestly. I gave it like 4 messy sentences, and it came back with a full 8-week plan. Let's actually go through this properly. Right at the top, it actually picks a strategy. Use long form to build trust and sales, and use shorts to bring new people in and funnel them toward that long form. Now in the priority part, it focuses on restoring consistency by committing to 1 long form every 2 weeks, 2 shorts a week pulled from that same content, and 1 small conversion post. Then in priority 2, it's telling us to go back and look at what has already worked. The best 5 pieces for sales, the best 5 for retention. Find where those overlap and build the next stuff from there instead of just guessing. And that's genuinely smart advice. Now, this is my favorite section in the whole thing. I literally asked what things we can cut, and it gave me a list. Pause shorts that are their own separate projects, stop the daily posting targets, drop channels that aren't producing anything, and this one, stop trying to make up for missed weeks by publishing extra content. Then it actually built me a 2-week production calendar. Monday do this, Tuesday do that, all the way through. It even separated out how to judge shorts versus long form. Shorts get measured by reach and retention, and long form measured by actual sales and leads. Small thing, but most people mix those 2 up constantly. And then the last piece about the hiring recommendation, it didn't just say to hire a content person, it said hire for the actual bottleneck. If one guy is overloaded with editing and scheduling, hire someone for that specifically, not for strategy. That's a genuinely good specific piece of advice. Now, is this perfect? Obviously not, but as a starting point, this is great. Now look, maybe you don't run a content team, but the same thing works for a bunch of stuff you probably actually deal with. It can be something like reviewing a lease before you sign it, checking a job offer letter for anything sketchy, or a gym membership before you commit. Basically, anytime you've got either total chaos in your head or a boring document you know you should read but won't. This is exactly that. Alright, so that's use case 1 done. Now let's move to number 2, and I'm calling this one the personal shopper. This one's a bit different though, because last time everything happened in the chat, but this time it's actually going out on the internet on its own and looking things up live. So here's what I did. I've genuinely been thinking about getting new running shoes, so I just asked it to find me a couple good options under $150 and tell me which one you'd actually go with. Now since I want it to go on the web and conduct a real search, I'll turn on the browser option, which lets it control the in-app browser. And look at this, right away you can see this little browser window pop up. It's asking me for permission to go check Adidas and Puma, and this research is happening in real time while I'm sitting here watching it. It worked on this for almost 3 minutes straight and came up with this result. If I actually did this myself, opened tabs, compared prices, read specs and all, that's a 20 to 30 minute job, and it just did it in under 3. So let's look at what it actually came back with. It gave 2 options, Saucony Ride 19 at $145, Puma Velocity Nitro at $140, both under budget. It's also giving me actual specifics, weight, drop, cushioning, even that the Saucony comes in wide width. This is real product knowledge it pulled straight off the official page. It then didn't just hand me 2 options and leave me stuck. It picked one, said it'd go with the Saucony, called it the safer everyday choice, comfortable without feeling sluggish. And then it told me exactly when I'd want the other one instead. Last time it stayed in the box, this time it stepped out of it. That's the jump from use case 1 to this one. And this one is the easiest to steal because everybody is purchasing or comparing something right now. A laptop, a phone, a mattress, picking a health insurance plan. Anytime you've got options and you don't want to spend your whole Saturday with 15 tabs open, this exact thing solves that problem. Alright, let's move to the third use case, and I'm calling this one the paper trail. So I've got these handwritten notes on machine learning stuff, and this can be a little tough to understand. So this time I'm asking it to turn these notes into a clean document. So I'm just going to upload this PDF using the plus icon and see what it actually does with it. So first it started with a full page-by-page inspection, trying to preserve the meaning and examples of the document. The guide structure is set, and this will be an editable textbook-style document with 6 chapters, clean formulas, and comparison tables. And after 12.5 minutes, it's done. It created a clean 17-page study guide with structured chapters, formulas, diagrams, comparison tables, and self-test questions, and then gave 2 versions, an editable Word doc and a print-ready PDF. So let's open it and see what we've got. First, it built a full table of contents with 7 chapters covering machine learning basics, regression, regularization, classification, SVMs, all the way to a formula sheet. But the thing is, it didn't just copy the notes into clean text, it also rebuilt an actual diagram. This best fit line with the residuals marked in red shows that it has a good enough understanding of the concept to draw it rather than just transcribing. Then it caught a few errors as well, flagged them, explained both versions are fine and why. Same thing happens again with this little table explaining what a large C does versus a small c. This is stuff that would have taken me forever to figure out and organize into a clean table myself. And then right at the end, it built an actual 1-page formula sheet, keeping everything in one place for quick recall, plus 11 self-test questions to actually check if I understood it. I hadn't asked for that, it just added it because that's genuinely what a study guide needs. Now, is this something I'd trust blindly? Probably not, especially with something math-heavy like this. But that was the whole point. Taking 20 pages of actual messy handwriting and turning it into a clean, structured study guide with diagrams and tables in 12 minutes. That's genuinely something a regular chatbot could never do in one shot. You can use it for old class notes before an exam, a notebook full of scribbled meeting notes from work, or even journal entries you want organized into something readable. Basically, if it's handwritten, photographed, or just messy on paper, this turns it into something real you can actually keep. Alright, now for the fourth one, I'll stay in the same chat and turn this into a completely different kind of output. This time, instead of a document, I want an actual slide deck. Something I could genuinely stand up and present in a meeting. Since it knows everything from this chat, I'm just gonna ask it straight to turn this into an actual slide deck I can present in a meeting and send. It then uses the presentation workflow, so the deck is built and visually checked slide by slide before saving. It's shaping this as an educational meeting deck rather than just dumping the entire study guide in. And after almost 14 minutes, our presentation is ready. Let's look at it. It does not say something like machine learning notes as the title. Instead, it used machine learning models made practical as the title, and also wrote a proper subtitle, How Objective Metrics and Regularization Shape What a Model Learns. This shows that it understands the actual through line of 20 pages well enough to summarize it in one sentence. Then, in the second slide, it created its own framework, 3 decisions that frame every machine learning problem: what's being predicted, how it learns, how you judge it. This data is not in the notes like that. It synthesized that structure itself. Then in the next slide, it rebuilt the same best fit line visual from the document, but simplified it down for a slide, less text, same core idea. Now this one is my favorite. All 3 things are laid out as 3 color-coded cards, and it followed the same thing with slides 5, 8, 9, and 11. And then we have an actual decision table with situation, starting point, and the reason behind choosing a particular model. And this closes with an actual takeaway slide, not just a thank you message, and that is how you would want to end your presentation. Now, this idea works for turning a rough proposal into a client pitch deck, turning your meeting notes into something you'd present to your team, or turning research for a school project into presentation slides. Basically, anytime you've got the information but not in a presentable shape, this is what you should do. Now here's something I noticed after doing all this. Every single thing we've built so far, the content plan, shoe pick, study guide, and slide deck, they're all things you finish once and you're done. But not everything in your life works like that. There are some things you actually need every single day. So our 5th use case is completely different. I'll name it the live board. It is basically an actual live web page where you can track your daily things. To do this, I'm asking it to build a habit tracker where I'll list out 8 to 10 habits I actually want to stay consistent with, and I want a spot to check off each habit for each day. And as I keep checking things, I want it to automatically build a graph so I can actually see my consistency over time. So I'll give this prompt and send. So first, it understood what we actually want, and then after around 17 minutes, it actually built a working live board. It gave it an actual name, with a logo and a tagline. We have the habit dashboard on the left, and we can edit habits from there. Then we have a progress bar on the right that will keep updating as I check off these habits. And then here's the graph I actually asked for, a bar going up for today. And as the days go on, this is going to fill out into an actual trend line, exactly like a paper tracker, except this one's live. Now, I can actually come back and use it tomorrow again with the same link and the day after. So the progress gets logged and you can see how it's performing. The same exact idea works for anything you'd want to check off daily. Tracking a no-spend challenge, logging workouts without a gym app, keeping tabs on a reading goal, or even tracking something as simple as mood or sleep every night. Anytime you want a simple daily check-in, this is it, without even a single line of code. Alright, so remember right at the start of this video, I said stick around because there's a bonus section at the end. Yeah, this is that one, and I saved it for last on purpose. This thing is called Record and Replay. Everything up until now, I've had to sit here and actually explain what I want, but this one is different. I'll just do the task once, normally, like I always would, and it watches and figures the whole thing out on its own and creates a skill for it. To do this, just click on the plus icon and select Record a Skill. Then click on Install Record and Play, and just send. And now you can see that recording is active for 30 minutes. Perform the workflow and then tell it that you're done. So to test this, I just went to X and Reddit for AI news, referred to a few recent updates, came back and closed the recording. After that, it said the recording captured an AI news routine operating on X and Reddit, and then asked if the skill should check those two sources and return a digest of the most important AI news with links. I gave permission, and then it started packaging the workflow as an AI news digest skill using X and Reddit. After that, it did some structural checks and packaged the complete skill as check AI news. Now, anytime you want to access this skill, just use the @ symbol and type the name, and it will follow the exact same workflow you did manually. Alright, so let's quickly go over everything we did today. We started with the chaos test, just dumping messy thoughts and watching a whole strategy get built. Then the personal shopper went out onto the internet and found me shoes on its own. Then third was the paper trail. 20 pages of messy handwritten notes turned into an actual clean study guide. Straight after that, the same notes turned into a full slide deck. Then we built a live board from scratch. And finally, Record and Replay, where it just observed what I did and adapted to that workflow. So here's what I want you to do. Just pick one, whichever one felt the most useful to you, and go try that one. If this actually helped you, drop a like, and if you've got a use case of your own, drop it in the comments. Keep learning, and I'll see you in the next one.